Hey everybody, this is your boy Jay Mason inside the Time Machine on WUAG 103.FM, playing the best of new and old school hip hop, R&B, and everything else in between. With me on the phone right now, I have R&B legend Miss Shirley Murdock. Miss Murdock, welcome to the
Hey
Time Machine.
Jay.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, baby. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to do this interview with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, now let's go ahead and get back to the beginning. Like most R&B singers, did you get your start singing in the church?
Absolutely. Grew up singing in church in the choir, Calvary Baptist Church in Toledo, Ohio, where I'm from. And you know, it's like you can take the girl out of church, but you can't take the church out of the girl.
I know that's right. So I know
So
you.
all of my mainstream records always had a gospel song on there because that's who I am.
Now you were growing up in Toledo, Ohio. Now, what was the
Right.
sound like growing up in the Midwest, and you had like the Motown sound blowing up in the '60s? And how was the Midwest different from like any other areas of the country at the time growing up
Well,
musically?
growing up in Toledo, I was just like a stone's throw from Detroit. So I was musically, I was very much influenced by Detroit. And growing up listening to the Motown sounds, and listening to Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder and the Jackson 5. So definitely, influenced my music. And on the gospel side, there was always Aretha Franklin again, and the late great Dr. Mattie Moss Clark, the Clark sisters, the Winans. All of us, we all came up around the same time.
Okay, so now after doing the church thing, did you cut your teeth locally, singing around in clubs or anywhere you can get in before you
No,
hooked up
no,
with
believe
Roger
it or
Troutman?
not, I went straight from the choir stand into the music industry.
Wow.
I cut my teeth. I learned my craft right there in the choir stand. It was great training vocally because in the choir you learn harmonies. You learn how you learn so much just being in the choir, learning how to project and getting up every Sunday morning. Hitting that vocal. Some people, I never trained vocally, but it was absolutely a gift from God. And so all of my training came from church. And so I met the late, great Roger Troutman. He heard me doing what I do. I was ministering with a crusade team that was based out of Columbus, Ohio. And we went around and did crusades. And one of the themes of our crusade was Jesus is Love. We adopted that song from the Commodores, Jesus is Love. And that was one of our themes for a crusade that we did in Toledo. And I had a cousin who worked for Roger who came to Toledo to visit the family. And my mother let her hear a tape of me singing. She took it back to Roger. And he was like, who is this girl? Does she want to make records? So when I went to talk to Roger, I was saying, I want to sing gospel. But they didn't have any connections in that area. So I really left Roger saying, thank you, but no thank you. But he kept the door open and said, should you ever want to give it a chance, we'd like to help you. And so, as I left, I was like, because this was not the first time that the door to secular music opened for me. And I was like, God, how come the door to gospel is not opening? Why is it that this door to secular is continuing to open? And is this you? So when I prayed about it and made the decision to go ahead and give it a try, I knew that I was not leaving church to go cut the food out there in the world. I was going to share my gift with the whole world and my life and my love for the Lord, and that's really my testimony. I don't have a testimony in R&B with drugs and alcohol, any of that kind of crazy stuff. You never saw me in tabloids or my name mentioned in crazy situations because that wasn't my life. But God used Bishop T.D. Jakes to open the door for me to come back to gospel, and I was signed to Warner Brothers J to do another R&B CD, and I went to Roger and asked to be released, so that I could do gospel. And he said, well, baby, that's what you were doing when I met you, and I'm not surprised. And he, first of all, released me from himself. He went to Warner Brothers and got me released. I was released on paper in December of '98, and Roger passed away in April of '99. So how's that for the timing of God? Isn't that something?
Of course, in the church, it's a no-no to go from gospel to R&B because you have some people that's very conservative about that.